definitely shift to the other side of the football. We're going to get to Derrick Henry in just a minute because that is a massive story on the offensive side, but obviously so is Lamar Jackson. Here's what's bananas. Lamar finished with almost 300 yards. He finished with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and I think 148 point something quarterback rating. And Bobby, through 3 games, he's got 51 completions, 722 passing yards, 118 rush yards, 10 total touchdowns, and yet a record of 1-2. Bobby, those numbers, of course, it's early, it's week 3, but those numbers would put him on pace to have over 50 touchdowns and over 4,700 total yards. And yet the Ravens are 1-2. This is bananas.
You want some historical stuff attached to that?
You give me some historical stuff.
Nobody wants this, but I'll give it to you anyway. He's the first quarterback in NFL history with 9+ passing touchdowns, no interceptions, and a losing record on top of that through 3 games. That's 1. 2, the Ravens have scored 111 points this season, which we've referenced. The most through 3 games by a team with a losing record in NFL history. So those are 2 pieces that, again, speak to how well, at times, more often than not, the offense has been executing. But yet, much like Burrow last year in Cincinnati, Sarah, the unit, at least through 3 weeks, has not been able to overcome the opposite side of football.
Right. And here's what's crazy is as much as the defense was terrible for the vast majority of the game, and we've just spent 30 minutes or more on talking about the defense. The fact is they made 2 stops in the middle of the 4th quarter and put it back in the offense's hands, which I had no hope that they would be able to do. Suddenly they make a stop, and what the heck happens? Oh, way down here. I thought we were close to the offensive stuff. Derrick Henry fumbles for the 3rd week in a row. The defense actually made a stop. They stopped Jared Goff. They stopped this running attack that had just run all over them. Somehow, some way, they muster a stop. Part of me just feels like the Lions got a little bit safe because they had the lead. It's what happens to the Ravens too. But then Derrick Henry goes out there, and for the 3rd time this season, he fumbles. The 2nd time this season in back-breaking fashion.
Yes.
Look at what happened to him. He almost broke himself. He went over the sideline. He goes to throw down his helmet, kind of misses in the way he does it, and almost falls to the ground, but really falls to the bench. Here it is in real time. I mean, he's going over there and almost falls, Bobby. You probably didn't get to see that because you were in the stadium.
Look at that.
He almost fell to the ground.
Yeah. Because Sarah, I have reaction from him, so just let me know when you're ready to toss to that as well.
Yeah. Yes. And so I think it's okay to say that he officially has a fumble problem so far this season. And sometimes these things come in clusters. He had very few fumbles last year. I think it was something like 2?
Look at the number on the screen. Look at this number on the screen. This is insane.
Yes, this is it. So not just last year, but last year and 2023, he had 3 fumbles on 652 touches. In 2025 alone, in 3 games, he's got 3 fumbles on 43 touchdowns. So yes, sometimes these things come in clusters. Maybe this is his cluster, or maybe he has a problem. But he was absolutely beside himself. And then Bobby, even after this, he had his hands all over his head. The ESPN cameras kept coming back to him, and it almost looked like he was going to cry. To be honest with you, like that's the way. It kind of looked like he wanted to cry. Like he just was like, "What is going on?" Like he just lost his mind. He was so beside himself. And this is the guy who I still think, right? Like, I don't have much hope in the defense the way it's constructed right now. If I'm going to put faith in somebody, it's that Derrick Henry can overcome this. But man, oh man, you think, hey, game's on the line, or we're on the goal line and we're a yard out, or it's the fourth quarter and the defense just made a stop. It's not a bad idea to go to Derrick Henry, even if he gets stuffed. Well, now it is. And sure, on this fumble, look, Aiden Hutchinson came from behind. He was blind to it for sure. He came in with the punch out, but you just aren't counting on Derrick Henry to be the guy that's the backbreaker in these games. Let's go to his sound, like you said.
Yeah, all more post game sound here provided by Karita Parks and Bowie TV. Again, focusing on the body language from the King here.
Yeah, I apologize to Rock Nation, and just keep working and get this fixed.
Is there? Can you talk about working on it? I mean, is there a technical thing that you can even work on? Like, how do you work on it?
Just trying to implement those situations and be more cautious and just try to hold it as tight as you can. Though, I didn't see the guy coming from behind. Just kind of hold on to the ball. He made it a play, and I don't know. Just got to keep working. That's all I can think of. This sucks right now.
Derrick,
Sorry about the audio, guys. I mean, I think there was nothing that you could possibly do because of how quiet he was speaking there. But you heard him right in the beginning, and Bo Smoka transcribed some of it. He apologized to his teammates, his coaches, Flock Nation, right? Just got to keep working. Also, reference, Sarah, what you just kind of talked about there. Didn't see Aiden Hutchinson coming up from behind him. And Aiden's a heck of a player. And we'll get to some statistics that he put out there in just a bit because they're absurd. They're video game like the entire defense of what Detroit did to the Ravens tonight. But this is strange, right? This is strange right now. And seeing his reaction is even stranger. He is bent out of shape. And there are multiple people in that locker room, multiple players who are taking this much more than just on the chin. Like, this feels gutting in a sense.
Yeah, like Bobby, like in that clip you just played, like he can hardly keep his eyes open. Like that's what you want to do when you can't even believe, you don't even want to face what just happened. Like he just is like, now I commend him for being there. Okay. It's not easy to be there. And so he's there and he's taking accountability. He said, if you couldn't hear it, he said he apologized to his teammates, his coaches. He apologizes to Flock Nation. He says he's just got to keep working. He says it kind of sucks right now. All I can do is keep working. That's true. But also, man, like, get the attitude back. Like where he's like about to fall off the bench. His hands are on his head. He looks like he's going to cry. He's got his eyes closed. He can hardly look anybody in the eye. It's just like, it's in his head, Bobby. All that body language it's in his head. And now he's like nervous. It's going to keep happening. So, a little bit of nerves is good because it can motivate you to be careful, protect the ball, get, high and tight, all that kind of stuff. But you don't want those nerves to turn into being scared, and that body language was, again, a defeated body language.
This is a team that continues to be without number 42, Sarah. And, one of my big questions in my pregame show, and I had a lot of guests that came out to be more around town and used the second headset that I brought to weigh in on this question. And I wonder what your answer to this would be, both pre and post. The question was pregame, at what point, if at all, would the Ravens start to miss Pat Ricard?
Mm-hmm.
You always miss him just because he's a Pro Bowl fullback and what he's brought to this team since he was undrafted in 2017, and just how valuable he is in the running game, pass pro, everything that he does for you. He's even a pass catcher at times. Was tonight one of those nights where, yes, the overall headline, we know, as we've covered for over 40 minutes to start the show, was about the run defense or lack thereof. But are they starting to miss the presence of Pat Ricard?
Yeah, like you said, you've always missed it, but it's masked by putting up 40 burgers. Like when you're putting up 40 points, it's like, okay, we're doing pretty well. And tonight, by the way, they still put up 30 points. Like, that's what's crazy. This was like a down day for the offense when they put up 30 points. And oh my gosh, could you imagine like the celebrations they'd be having in Pittsburgh or Cleveland or New York or so many other teams. I mean, the Chargers just beat the Broncos 23-20. Like, it's just how many cities, it's not just the bad teams. How many cities would love to say, hey, we put up 30 points. That should be good enough to win. Just because it wasn't 40. Like, how much can you expect of Lamar Jackson? Here's the thing. They missed Ricard badly last week.
Yeah.
The Browns shut down Derrick Henry in the run game. In fact, Bobby, there was a point in the game. Actually, it was in the first quarter. I tweeted this. I said, Derrick Henry is so back. Last week, 20 yards total against the Browns, 0 touchdowns. This week, after the first drive, he already beat the total in rush yards with 36 and had a touchdown. So we're like, okay, the king is back. Until all of a sudden, no running lanes were opening. He wasn't getting through. He's getting stuffed at the goal line. Remember, they got all the way up to on that Tez Walker catch, up to like the 3-yard line. They give it to Derrick. He only gets 2 yards. Then they give it to him at the 1-yard line stuffed. 1-yard line stuffed. Then on 4th down, they go for it, and Lamar had nowhere to go. I don't even know what that play call was because it was. How can you know? There were lions everywhere, and so he gets shut down for only 50 total yards, and then that fumble. And so, to answer your question, they've been missing Ricard. They've been missing Ricard in short distance situations and especially goal line situations because I just don't know that their offensive line is enough, and it's Pat Ricard. So, yeah, they miss him and they need him back. But last week, Lamar Jackson was able to overcome it all because the Browns can't play offense. Lamar, putting all this on Lamar, where you can't have a Derrick Henry, you can't have a defense this bad and a run game this bad and expect Lamar to win it all. Of course they got 7 sacks. Yeah. Your defense is doing nothing and your run game is doing nothing. And so they can just pin their ears back. They know that Lamar is going to drop back and throw. And so it made it so much easier on the defense. Yes, they miss Pat Ricard. Yes, they miss Isaiah Likely. Those things will be huge, but you have to have a defense on top of it.
Yeah, you mentioned that sequence before the half, right?
Yeah.
After Tez, by the way, Tez was like 3 yards away from a 4th touchdown.
3 yards away for a 4th touchdown and 4 NFL catches.
Right? Which was fun to watch from my vantage point. That was an awesome hookup between he and Lamar there. But as you mentioned, 2nd and 1 with King Henry and Lamar Jackson in your backfield, and you can't cash in, and you end up losing 19 yards. Now, the resiliency to go get a stop, and then with under a minute left, go put up 6 with some masterclass savvy from DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. He is so fun to watch how they use him. That's when you're thinking, especially because they got the ball out of the half, you're thinking, okay, they were able to overcome what could have been viewed as a backbreaking sequence for them not cashing in on the 1-yard line at 2nd and goal. But then the second half took place, and they just were not able to overcome how outperformed they were in the trenches. Now, I wanted to get to these numbers a long time ago, and I jumped the gun.
Let's get
now
to
we
it
gotta
now.
Go do it now.
Here we go.
And these are not fun. We're acting as if they're fun. They're not.
They're
okay,
not.
Let's
But
be clear.
but we're glad we can come back around to them
because they're eye popping. They're not. You don't want to believe what you're seeing on the screen here from PFF. Aiden Hutchinson and this Detroit defense, Sarah. We've mentioned the 7 sacks a million times. 30 pressures.
30 pressures on number 8. Get out of here.
30 pressures in one game. The turnover forced by Aiden, as you see on the screen. We've mentioned the 7 sacks time and time again. 30 total pressures. This was the Ravens were outclassed tonight. Let's be clear. I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. This was a terrible performance in the trenches. They got bullied on their own home turf.
Okay, here's a multiple choice for you. This is not a fun question, but let's have it. Which is worse? 30 pressures on Lamar Jackson or 20 missed tackles on defense? I guess I'll go with the 20 pressures because you're going to like get him injured with that, or the 30 pressures. Sorry. You keep getting 30 pressures on him, you're going to hurt your franchise quarterback. He's going to get hurt. You can't have him running for his life that much. So I guess I'd prefer to erase that one over the 20 missed tackles. But those are the stories of the game. 20 missed tackles on defense and 30 pressures on Lamar Jackson.
I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one because I don't even know the answer. It's wrong and wrong is the multiple choice on that one. You know, A is wrong, B is wrong. Both are horrific. So, look, this was a problem. This was a problem, and you know, they're not scary in the red zone. They're not. They're not automatic in the red zone.
Not like they used to be. I feel like they were,
Not-
80 some odd % last year in the red
were
zone?
Todd Monken's first 2 years. It was cash money inside the 20s.
Yeah.
And granted, like you already you alluded to a couple minutes ago, Isaiah will likely be back for the Chiefs game. Pat, we have no idea what his timetable is. Pat Ricard, no clue. No clue what Namdi's is on the other side. Getting Isaiah back will obviously be helpful in the red zone. Kwame's responding to me like, Bobby, yeah, we had an offensive line then. There's a lot of similar pieces, though. Hold on a second. Besides McCary, this is the same offensive line that they were at last year with all the success in the world. Now, that was with an Isaiah Likely.
And a Pat Ricard.
Matthew's saying right now in the live chat that we get cute.
They for sure got too cute. What is Todd Monken doing?
On 3rd and 4th, they did.
On 3rd and Derrick Henry's throwing the touchdown pass. Can we keep the passes to Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, like, don't throw it. Are they coached? Because a lot of times when you don't give it to a quarterback, are they coached to throw it away? I guess he could have turned. He could have turned and thrown it out to Lamar. He was wide open to his left.
You got to airmail that.
Throw it out to the back of the end zone.
We love you, Tylen. You cannot put Tylen Wallace in a position to go after a 50-50 ball. It's not his game.
Tylen saved that, by the way.
It's not his game. Yep. So, I mean, look, just to give a couple bright spots for this offense before we wrap up the topic, it's great to see Mark Andrews get involved in this offense. He had a heck of a touchdown grab on a contested ball that was thrown by Lamar, and there was some heavy tight end usage. And Charlie Kohler got involved as well in the passing attack tonight. Mark,
the touchdown catch by Mark was beautiful.
Beautiful.
It was great, and the ball placement from Lamar, beautiful,
seamless. It was immaculate ball placement, better catch and concentration, and the contested nature of it from Mark. So it was great to see him get back involved. And you almost saw, Sarah, an unleashing of emotion that had been festering for months, seemingly, from Mark. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come for him, knowing that Isaiah will likely be back next week at Arrowhead. So that's a positive. DeAndre continues to be a positive. He is such a technician. The way that he manipulates, I don't care if they could be young or they could be veterans. Defensive backs. He is such a master at he is a master manipulator when it comes to going up against defensive backs. The guy's seen it all. And whether it was that almost toe tap grab on the sideline there right before he drew the DPI, the next play, that set up the Bateman touchdown to go and almost like avenged for or to go and try to overcome what had just happened, the previous drive before the defense went out and got that stop so they could put up points and make it manageable going into the second half. I just thought that was such a masterclass performance there on a back-to-back play sequence from DeAndre. He's been a lot of fun so far.
What's crazy is that ball that Lamar threw from TV, it looked like Lamar was throwing the ball away.
Oh.
And then somehow, I'm telling you, man, the chemistry between these two is off the charts. It's red hot, sizzling, whatever you want to say. Like, the connection is just like, I honestly thought, Lamar's throwing it away. And Lamar doesn't throw it away very much. That's more like a Joe Flacco thing, because Lamar can always like make something happen out of nothing. And then I'm thinking it's sailing into the stands, and then there somehow it just drops right in this little moon ball right in by the sideline. And DeAndre's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it with his 2 toes right
Yeah.
inside the sideline. And it's
Yeah.
like, how? And then the very next play, he draws that DPI. It's
Yeah.
just like,
That had me
how?
fired up because the vantage point I had, I was on the opposite side in the first half. So the Ravens were going away from me where I was sitting.
Okay.
And the angle, the arm angle that you get to see from Lamar,
Yeah.
to your point there, like it did, even to me, it looked like it might have been going out of bounds. And yet he fits it right where DeAndre can go snag that while keeping his feet in bounds. It was a thing of beauty. So if there's something to hang your hat on in the midst of all of this, it's that Mark Andrews finally had his breakout game, even though his standard is higher than what he did today. I mean, he's had a lot more dominant, if you will, games than tonight. But his first true game of the year for him. DeAndre continues to be that savvy player that has an edge on his competition. It's a small sample size. He's not going to be the high volume guy, but he and Lamar continue to grow and have rapport together. Devontae continues to be a threat. He's earning snaps out there. So good for him. And the speed is always on full display. And he's got a short pair of hands as well. But the Derrick Henry thing, to kind of bring this thing back before we get to special teams and super chats and get on with our lives, the Derrick Henry thing is weird because he kind of comes and goes so far this year. Strange.
Yeah.
Really strange.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've said enough about Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But
So
look, how hard is that picture though, by the way, of D-Hop? That's so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
The
Did you
red,
see him? Did you see him
the
talking
red.
all that junk after the DPI?
I sure did. And yet,
Oh, that was.
he did it so calmly in the most DeAndre Hopkins kind of way. Like just calmly over there, getting under his skin somehow. I don't know what he was saying, but he just had like this straight face and he wasn't like, he wasn't like trying to flex on him. He just calmly talked his trash and got under his skin.
Yes, he did. Like the savvy vet that he is.